Hey there, Teresa here. No, you're not experiencing technical difficulties. I'm not saying anything right now. I'm giving you and me an opportunity to experience something that I don't know that we're all that good at. I'm talking about waiting. Waiting. That's what a lot of us are doing right now. We're waiting. Many are waiting, and the waiting is really scary for them. They're waiting until COVID-19 comes to their community. They're waiting until someone they know gets it. They may be waiting for themselves to get it. They're waiting, and in that waiting, what they're feeling is afraid because they're waiting for something bad to happen. That's a hard kind of thing to wait for. And so I'm here today talking to you about waiting because we are in a time of doing exactly that. We're waiting to see what happens. We're waiting to get through this time of social distancing. We're waiting to see how the economy is going to rebound. We're waiting for life to get back to some sense of normalcy. There's a lot of waiting going on. And some of the waiting that we're doing creates fear because we're waiting for something bad to happen. But there's also an opportunity here, my friends. Hi, Nancy. For us to wait for something new and beautiful and powerful and life-giving and creative to happen. Waiting, this time of stopping so much of our normal activities, having life as usual be interrupted, is in spirituality called liminal space. Liminal space is that time after a caterpillar builds its chrysalis and goes into that chrysalis or cocoon. And outwardly, it seems like nothing is happening. And days and days and days later, that same caterpillar comes out as a butterfly. That time between caterpillar and butterfly in that chrysalis is liminal space. It's no longer what it was, and it's not yet what it's going to be. And what's required of liminal space, also known as the goo stage, is waiting, patience, waiting, patience. Hey, Lisa, waiting. What's also required of liminal space is listening. And that goes against so much of our culture and how we're wired, because we are doers. We want to be doing things. We want to get things done. And one of the challenges a lot of the people that I'm talking with are having in this time when they can't do all they normally do is they're having a hard time doing nothing, waiting, listening. Listening to what? Well, this is a great time to listen to what's going on in here. Instead of listening to what's going on out there, what's going on in here, my friends? If you dare to open to this time of waiting and regularly engage in times of stillness, doing nothing, letting this vacuum that has been created in our lives be filled with something new instead of filling it with activity, you may reclaim or get in touch with desires, dreams, hopes, values, people that you've long lost touch with in all the busyness and the activity pre-pandemic. The desires or the impulse within you to create something new or do something different going forward. Like the caterpillar has an impulse inside of it to fly. And that impulse is what sets it on its path to create a chrysalis and go inside and completely let go of what it once was and literally turn into goo. And then from that goo, emerge as a butterfly. We're in a goo time, my friends. And waiting and listening and paying attention to our intuition, our guidance, to our dreams, to our desires, to the truth of who we really are and how we want to express ourselves and how we want to contribute to the world and our own unique design and talents and gifts and how we want to use those things going forward may be very, very different than how we used to do it. And all of that requires waiting and not knowing and being in the goo, like, I'm not going to do that. I can't do that anymore. And I don't know how I could do this or if I can do this, like waiting, listening, feeling doubt and uncertainty and impatience and that impulse to just do and fill the void instead of go into the void and waiting. You know, our culture is not wired for this. We are an instant society. We get on our phones and we can instantly connect and text. We have a question. We can go to Google and instantly get an answer. We go to Amazon and order. And if an item we need isn't Amazon Prime with free 2-day shipping, we're like frustrated. Our culture is no longer teaching us how to wait or the value of waiting. Fortunately, I had parents who were old enough to be my grandparents, and they were semi-retired when I was still a child at home, and they knew how to wait. They knew the importance of waiting and being patient and doing nothing and being still and listening. Every night after supper in the summertime, my dad would go outside with his lawn chair and sit in the front yard and do nothing. Do nothing. Just sit there and watch the cars go by for hours. I thought he was crazy, but I was a kid. But my dad knew what my Christian tradition, what religions across the world have known, is that we must be still to hear the voice and the guidance of the one who created us, and that is the life force flowing through us and the world. In the Old Testament, there's the story of the prophet Elijah, who was waiting in a mountain cave. He was told that the God who created them, the God of their fathers, would speak to him. And when he heard God's voice, he was to come out of the cave and stand before God. And the story says, like, this huge storm struck the mountain and rocks were falling and there was all this noise, but God was not in the storm. And then there was an earthquake and everything was shaking and God was not in the earthquake. And then there was this devastating fire and God was not in the fire. And note what Elijah had to do through all of these things. Wait. And then Elijah heard this still small voice, like a gentle breeze. And he walked out of the cave to listen. Waiting. Waiting. Waiting isn't doing nothing, my friends. Not when you're waiting consciously and intentionally, listening in the liminal space. It's a very active process. And one way you can support yourself to wait and to listen is what we've been doing on all of these Anchored in Abundance times, is we just take a few minutes, some days more than others, to sit in silence, in stillness, listening together. And so I invite you to sit with me here for a minute or two. If you're able, close your eyes, uncross your arms, uncross your legs, embody an open stance. In these days where we sense that it is never going to be like it was, I'm not going to be a caterpillar again, and we don't yet know what it will be. Will I be a butterfly? We must sit in the cocoon and wait. Not trying to make the change happen ourselves, because the caterpillar isn't the one who converts it into a butterfly, but opening ourselves to the change that's wanting to happen in us and through us. And one way to open ourselves up and listen to that is to simply sit still, comfortably, open stance, and just breathe in consciously. Let that invitation to life, that gift of life, flow into you and through you and out again. Let's just sit here and wait together, anchoring ourselves in that something bigger that we're part of, that I call abundance. Opening ourselves to hear what is wanting to emerge, if we're only willing to wait long enough to hear it, to know it, and only then to act on it. So a couple of minutes here, just breathing in and out. training ourselves to hear that still small voice, that spirit of life and God that is in each of us. I invite you to stay in this space even after I end this video, especially if you found yourself having what I call the itches, bitches, and twitches. It seems to me that counterintuitively, the more difficulty we have sitting, being still, doing nothing, the more it is the practice we must develop. And whenever you end, whether it's as I end this video now, or if you stay here practicing waiting a few minutes past that part of you that wants to get on and start doing something else, whenever you choose to transition peacefully into the rest of your day, I invite you to do so by taking 3 more of these very conscious breaths. Saying yes as you inhale, which is your response to how God, Creator, Spirit, Universe is wanting to work through you and in you to create new life during these times. And thank you on each exhale. An advance prayer of gratitude for what is wanting to emerge, the butterfly perhaps that you are becoming. 3 times with a yes and a thank you. Blessings on your day.